Alright, so let's get started with our string searcher here. Obviously it's going to be using an item search, so let's declare it. Now the item search has to be declared with the item type that we're going to be searching, as well as the cell that's going to go into the list view. So the item is going to be a string because we're searching strings, and the cell is going to be a label in this case because we're just going to throw the strings into a label and then display them that way. Alright. Now remember, we need 4 things for this guy to work. We need our search bar, we need a list view, we need our text matcher, and we need our cell creator. Let's take care of the search bar and the list view. Now these are just JavaFX elements, so that means that they're going to come, the references to them are going to come from the FXML documents. And if we set the ID correctly, then we'll have a reference to them in our Java code. We don't have to worry about that right now since we're just making this class. So let's pass those references in through the constructor of this guy. So let's get a constructor going. Alright, so the search bar and the results list will now hold those 2 things, so that's taken care of. Alright, now we're going to make our text matcher. So this is just a function, but the type is going to be an interface defined in the item search. So item search text matcher and what it is a functional interface, but we can actually define the functional interface with a lambda function like this. So the function is going to have to take the item, in this case it's going to be a string, and it's going to take the search text as the second argument. So how are we going to determine if the string item matches the search text? Well, let's match it. This is obviously up to the user how you want to actually do this, but how I'm going to do it is I'm just going to check to see if the search text is somewhere inside of the item, and it's not going to be case sensitive. So first of all, let's bring it to lowercase. Alright, so we've got our 2 lowercase strings now, so all we have to do is use lowercase, see if the lowercase item contains the lowercase search text. And this is going to be a Boolean, and it's going to be true if it contains the search text, and that's going to determine if it matches. So let's just return this Boolean. because remember, the matcher has to return true if it matches, and it's going to be ran for every single item in your that you've put into the item search. And then we're done. Alright, so next we're going to create our cell creator, and this is just going to be another functional interface, and the type is ItemSearch.cellCreator, and it's a generic, so you have to declare the type with the item as well as the cell that you're attempting to create. In this case, it's going to be a string and a label. Now, the cell creator is simply going to take the item, and what you need to do is turn this item into a JavaFX element and return that element. And that element will be put into the list view. So how are we going to turn the string into a JavaFX element that displays the string? Well, we're simply going to create a label, the JavaFX label, and we're going to instantiate the label with our string. And that's all we need to do. If we return this label, then it will basically be set, and then anytime our search runs, all of the matching strings will be passed through this function, turned into labels, and then slapped onto our list view. Now that we have all the items that we need, all we have to do is actually instantiate our item search. And it's going to take the 4 items that we've created or gotten. First, it's going to take the search bar, which is the list view. Then it's going to take results list, which, if you remember, that's our or the search bar is a text field, the results list is the list view. And it's going to take the matcher, which was our text matching function. And then finally, it's going to take our cell creator. Now, when you instantiate the item search, what it's going to do is it's going to assign an event handler to the search bar, so that every time you type into the search bar, it will update itself. And what it will do is it'll take all of its items, run them through the matcher, figure out which items match, run all those matching items through the cell creator, and then display all those resulting cells on the results list anytime you edit the search text. Now, what we're going to need is a way to get items into our item search from our string searcher class. So since the item search is private, let's just make a little function here. Public add item string item. And all it's going to do is it's going to pass it along to the item search. It's going to put the item into it. Now, one more thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get access to the item search's update function. Even though you're only going to really have to call this once at the beginning, it's good to have access to it just in case you have any other functions that are adding and changing the items without actually doing anything with the search bar, because the search bar is the only thing that has an automatic event handler assigned to it. So we'll do a public void update. All that's going to do is it's going to call the update on the item search. Alright, now that we've got everything set up, let's go over to our initializable class here with all of our references to our JavaFX elements. Here you can see our text field and our list view. This is just my examples class that is on my GitHub with all the examples of this thing. What I've done is I've just taken everything out so that I can just focus on the string search. So we've got our two elements that we needed references to up here, and we've also declared our string searcher here. Let's go ahead and instantiate it in the initialize function. Now remember, we need our two elements here, our search bar and our list view. And upon instantiating this, the search bar will be assigned an event handler, so every time we mess with the search bar, it'll update the item searcher. Let's get some strings in here. And now let's go ahead and update it. Now, the only reason we need to call update here is because we have added more strings to it. So anytime you add more items, change the amount of items, you're going to want to call update just so that it goes ahead and populates the list view accordingly with the new items that you have. If you don't do it, if you don't call update here, then you would have to wait until you've touched the search bar for it to actually update again. So it's good to just, once you add all your items at the beginning, go ahead and call update and it'll populate the list view. Now let's run it and see what happens. Alright, so our search bar is here, our list view is right here. We've got our 4 strings. Let's go ahead and type something in. 1, 2, 3, 4. He shows up and it works. So hopefully this tutorial was relatively simple. There are many more things that you can do, especially with the cell creator here, such as assign event handlers to our label. So you can do things like label, set on mouse clicked, and then since we have a reference to our item and the label, we can do whatever sort of editing or effects or selection that we want. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the table editor, and that'll get into the editing part of this. One more thing that I want to mention before I end the video is that the item search can also take a comparator. So the comparator is just a function that will go ahead and ensure that the output is sorted every time it puts new things in your list view, and you just have to do this, set comparator, and then if you want your strings to be in alphabetical order, you'll just do string compared to, which is a built-in comparator that will make sure strings are sorted. That's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.